Welcome to day 2. Today what we're going to do, we're going to focus on simplifying radical expressions that use the multiplication property of radicals, which we'll learn today. And when we do that, we're also going to review the distribution property and properties of exponents. So we're going to be recalling some information. So the first thing I want you to do is I want you to remember try to remember how to multiply polynomials. So first things first, I'd like you to focus on A, B, and C by multiplying. Pause the video to practice and then check your answers. Okay, so A, B, and C are all examples where we are going to use the distributive properties. So for A, we're going to distribute that 3x, so a monomial to a binomial, and get 3x squared plus 12x. For B, you can either use the FOIL method or the box method. Final answer, 2x squared plus 2x minus 24. Again, I want to emphasize that we're going to sum our middle terms because they are like terms to get 2x. And then for C, I want to emphasize we're using our properties of exponents. So remember, exponents mean repeated multiplication. So the first thing you had to do is write out 3x minus 4 as a binomial twice, then you can move forward with FOIL or the box method to get your trinomial. The next piece is we're going to work on simplifying radicals. So we're going to review, didn't mean to do that. So we're going to review that really quick. Okay, so again, let's warm up. So this is using some skills from previous, back in January. So I want you to try to simplify A, B, and C, check your solution, pause the video, try it, and then we'll check our solutions. Okay, so what you hopefully should remember for A, B, and C is that we first need to combine numbers underneath the radical together. So 3 times 3 is 9, then we simplify square root of 9. 3 times 6 is 18, then we simplify square root of 18. For C, we are only combining the 3 and the 8. We're multiplying those together to get 24. Then we're simplifying square root of 24. When we have a coefficient out front, such as 2, it still stays there. And then your last step is then combining the radicals. So 2 times 2 is 4, which is where we get 4 root 6. So what we're going to do today when we multiply radical expressions is we're going to combine these two ideas. We're going to use the distributive property, we're going to use properties of exponents, and we're going to simplify radicals. Okay, so whereas yesterday the big question was how do I add and subtract radical expressions, today the big idea is how do I multiply radical expressions. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to always multiply the coefficients outside of the radical. So remember, coefficients means number in front of the term. Then we're also going to multiply the numbers underneath the radical. Okay, and then we're going to simplify our radical. Okay, so just as an example, I had 2 root 3 times 4 root 6. Step 1 says multiply the coefficients, so my coefficients are 2 and 4, which is an 8. 3 times 6 is square root of 18. Then we're going to focus on simplifying 8 root 18. I'm going to bring it over here. So I'd have 8 square root of 9 square root of 2, 8 times 3 times root 2. Again, I can still multiply my coefficients up front, so that would be 24 root 2 as my final answer. So that's what we're focusing on today. Taking an expression such as this, combining the coefficients out front, numbers underneath the radical, doing a little more simplifying, and then ending up with 24 root 2. So one of the best ways to demonstrate and practice multiplying radical expressions is to utilize the perimeter and area, either a rectangle or a triangle. So I know this is one of our favorite things to do. One of the first things we're going to do is review what this means. So remember, perimeter means the sum of all sides, and area. So for a rectangle, we know area equals length times width. The other shape we've dealt with a little bit is a triangle. So maybe you remember area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. Sometimes you guys might write base times height over 2. They're the exact same thing. So area is a unit squared. So how do I find the perimeter and area of the rectangle? So let's first start with perimeter. So perimeter is the sum of all sides. So for the perimeter, what we're going to do, okay, I have 4 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to take my 4 sides. So we'll start with 3 root 6. 3 plus root 6. You know that happens twice. So plus 3 plus root 6. And then I have my other 2 sides right here and here. So then I have again plus root 6 plus root 6. So my perimeter, so I need to combine this. So let's look at this. So one thing we need to keep in mind is any root 6, there's also a coefficient of 1 in front of it. Okay, and then I'm asking myself, what numbers can I sum together? So when I look at this, I can sum the 3 and 3, which is going to give me a 6. And then I have root 6 plus root 6 plus root 6 plus root 6. So how many root 6s am I summing together? 4. So then I get 4. Root 6 is my final answer. So that's the perimeter. And then we could also focus on the area. Pick a new color for this. So let's focus on the area. So we have a rectangle, so area equals length times width. So I'm going to actually put the root 6 first, times 3 plus root 6. And this would be an example. I see multiplication, and so we're going to use the distributive property. So I'm going to distribute here. So I cannot combine the 3 and the root 6 because one term has a radical, the other does not. So we're going to get equals 3 root 6. I'm going to distribute again. Now they're both radicals, so I can combine them. And I get 36, or square root of 36. So 3 root 6 plus square root of 36 equals 6. Okay. Again, I cannot combine them, so my final answer, 3 root 6 plus 6. I'm going to write units squared. Back over here on perimeter, I should have added units. But that is our 2 examples. So keep in mind, perimeter, we are taking the sum of sides, and area, we are multiplying. So what I'd like you to do is I give you one more example with the triangle on the next page. And so what I'd like you to do is pause the video and practice. Try to find the perimeter and area of the triangle.